Fantasy football, a game of skill, strategy, and a touch of luck. Millions gather online, crafting their dream teams, chasing digital glory. From casual fans to seasoned veterans, the allure of the virtual gridiron is undeniable. But what is it about this digital domain that sparks such fervent devotion? The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, emotions run high in the world of fantasy football. Every touchdown, every yard gained becomes a personal investment. Friendships are forged and tested on the digital battlefield. Rivalries ignite, fueled by bragging rights and the coveted top spot on the leaderboard. This digital pastime offers a unique blend of entertainment and engagement. Fans become armchair analysts, poring over player stats, dissecting matchups, and making strategic decisions that could make or break their fantasy season. Meet John, a die-hard football fan whose life revolves around fantasy leagues. His days are consumed by player updates, injury reports, and endless hours strategizing his next move. His nights are spent glued to the screen, monitoring live games, his mood fluctuating with every play. John's obsession, while seemingly harmless, has begun to affect his personal and professional life. Sleepless nights have taken a toll on his work performance. His relationships have strained under the weight of his constant preoccupation with fantasy football. He's irritable, withdrawn, and increasingly isolated, his world shrinking to the confines of his fantasy league. John's story serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting the potential dangers of unchecked fantasy sports involvement. When the game begins to control your life, it's time to reassess your relationship with the digital gridiron. The allure of fantasy football extends beyond mere fandom. It taps into our innate fascination with numbers and statistics. For many, the game provides an outlet to flex their analytical muscles, to delve into a world of data points and performance metrics. Every catch, every tackle, every yard gained or lost translates into tangible points, fueling the competitive spirit. The rise of advanced analytics has further intensified this statistical obsession. Fans crave deeper insights, seeking out obscure metrics and proprietary algorithms that promise a competitive edge. This data-driven approach encourages critical thinking and strategic planning. However, it can also lead to a myopic focus on numbers, overshadowing the emotional connection to the sport. Remember, fantasy football, at its core, is a game, and games are meant to be enjoyed. The emotional roller coaster experienced by fantasy football enthusiasts mirrors the highs and lows of gambling. The thrill of a last-minute victory, the crushing blow of an unexpected loss, these emotional swings are eerily similar to those experienced by gamblers. The dopamine rush that accompanies a successful fantasy week can be highly addictive. Similarly, the despair of a crushing defeat can fuel a desire to chase losses. This cycle of anticipation, reward, and potential loss mirrors the psychological mechanisms at play in gambling addiction. The increasing prevalence of micro-betting within fantasy sports platforms blurs the lines even further. It's crucial to acknowledge the similarities between fantasy sports and gambling, recognizing that the same psychological triggers are at play. Promoting responsible engagement and setting limits are essential steps in mitigating these risks. The fear of missing out, commonly known as FOMO, plays a significant role in the psychology of fantasy football. The constant stream of player updates, news alerts, and social media chatter creates a sense of urgency. This fear of falling behind can fuel obsessive behaviors and contribute to unhealthy levels of engagement. Social media platforms further exacerbate this FOMO effect. The ability to track the performance of friends and colleagues in real time fosters a culture of comparison and competition. While this social aspect can be enjoyable, it can also lead to feelings of inadequacy and a constant need for validation. It's important to remember that fantasy football is just a game, and one's performance in a virtual league should not define their self-esteem. Disconnecting from the constant barrage of information and setting healthy boundaries are crucial steps in mitigating the negative impacts of FOMO. The introduction of micro-betting within fantasy sports platforms has added a new layer of complexity to the discussion surrounding addiction. These small wagers allow fans to bet on individual player performances, game outcomes, or even statistical milestones. While proponents argue that these microbets enhance engagement, critics warn of their potential to normalize gambling behavior. The allure of microbetting taps into the same psychological triggers as traditional gambling. The relatively small stakes can create a false sense of security, leading some to believe that these wagers are harmless fun. However, the ease with which these bets can be placed can quickly lead to escalating spending and potential financial harm. Regulating micro-betting within fantasy sports platforms is crucial to protect vulnerable individuals. Educating users about responsible gaming practices and providing resources for those struggling with addiction should be paramount. One of the most appealing aspects of fantasy football is the sense of community it fosters. Leagues often consist of friends, family members, or colleagues, creating a shared experience that strengthens bonds. However, this sense of community can sometimes be overshadowed by the competitive nature of the game. The pressure to win can transform friendly competition into a cutthroat pursuit of digital glory. Trash talk can escalate into personal attacks, and the joy of the game can be replaced by bitterness. Finding a balance between community and competition is crucial to preserving the social fabric of fantasy football leagues. Celebrating each other's successes and focusing on the shared passion for the sport can foster a more positive league dynamic. Ultimately, the success of a fantasy football league hinges on the ability of its members to prioritize camaraderie over cutthroat competition. Experts in psychology, addiction, and sports media have weighed in on the potential risks and rewards of fantasy football. Dr. Anna Lembke, a psychiatrist and addiction specialist, cautions against the addictive potential of fantasy sports. Sports journalist Bill Simmons emphasizes the importance of setting boundaries and prioritizing real-life commitments. He suggests limiting time spent on research and analysis and focusing on the social aspect of the game. Psychologist Dr. Jamie Madigan suggests that the key to enjoying fantasy sports responsibly lies in maintaining perspective. He encourages participants to view the game as a form of entertainment, not a high-stakes competition. Ultimately, navigating the world of fantasy football responsibly requires self-awareness and healthy boundaries. By heeding expert advice, fans can enjoy the excitement and camaraderie of fantasy sports without succumbing to its potential pitfalls. The key to a healthy relationship with fantasy football lies in striking a balance between enjoyment and obsession. It's about reveling in the camaraderie and strategic thinking without allowing it to consume your life. Setting boundaries is crucial. Allocate specific times for fantasy football-related activities and stick to them. Avoid letting it encroach on work, family time, or other important commitments. Prioritize real-life interactions over digital ones. Engage in friendly banter. Celebrate each other's successes and offer support during slumps. Be mindful of your own behavior. If you find yourself constantly checking your phone or neglecting responsibilities, it's time to reassess your relationship with the game. By approaching it with a balanced perspective, you can enjoy the excitement and camaraderie of the game without succumbing to its potential pitfalls. The growing popularity of fantasy football necessitates a conversation about responsible play. Education is key. Fantasy sports platforms should provide clear information about the risks of excessive involvement. Setting limits is paramount. Encourage users to set daily or weekly time limits for fantasy football-related activities. Promote self-awareness and provide tools to assess engagement levels. Support responsible gaming initiatives and collaborate with organizations dedicated to preventing gambling addiction. By promoting responsible play and educating users, we can protect the integrity of the game and ensure it remains an enjoyable experience for all involved.